This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo. It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2. I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
There he is, everybody. It is official, by the way. The poll just came out as we were in commercial break, Jeffrey. It will be 1 versus 2 Saturday night at Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome.
Yeah, like we thought, although I would say Montana State might have a beef on this poll
Yeah,
right now.
but again, like we talked about on Saturday, I mean, they're 7-0. They have an FBS win. Lousy at that.
Well,
but
it's still 3 letters.
But the FCS teams that they've beaten are, Maine.
So Idaho
Mercyhurst
is now
Idaho. That's a good win. That's their first quality win. They beat Northern Colorado, who, by the way, give it up for the Bears. They won their first game in 2 years on Saturday night. They beat Weber. But Montana State has beaten Maine, Mercyhurst, Idaho State, Northern Colorado prior to their victory over Idaho on Saturday.
What's that say for Weber?
Not great. Not great.
By the way, give it up for the Big Sky Presidents when they took Northern Colorado over NDSU and South Dakota State. Back when was it 2005-ish, around there, something like that.
Yep. Not great.
Good move.
Okay, so
Denver Media Market.
Second time in 3 years we get 1 versus 2 at the Fargo Dome. This is a night game. This is everything you want.
It is. It's the clash. It's everything. The Bison are a little beat up, though.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see how this week goes and what the head coach has to say tomorrow. But I would be certainly a little concerned if you're the offensive coordinator and your quarterback's got a sprained ankle.
Right. We'll get to that in a minute here. Go ahead.
Well, what we saw, what a reduced playbook can do to that position when you took, like last Saturday, the run game was not part of his repertoire.
No, it couldn't be. You saw when he made a move with his right foot in the second quarter, and Cam couldn't move, and after that he limped off the field in that game on as we're watching stuff from the Jacks and the Bison past matchups. But when he tried to make a move in the second quarter, he couldn't. No, and that totally limits what his availability
like right
is.
Here. Okay, that was not part of the equation.
No,
just
he
that
could do
play.
Yep, and that's part of his game. That's something that we've seen in the past. He's not been able to do that.
He's a school's career leader in rushing touchdowns for a quarterback.
Right. I asked Sam this, so I'll ask you, is it too simple to boil down this game Saturday night to whoever plays better at quarterback wins the football game?
What did he say?
Sam said yes, that you can do that.
Well, you could say that for most games.
But in this one particular, because Granowski has had the clear edge over Cam Miller in the 4 previous matchups they've had. Granowski's played great. Cam has not.
That's where it started. But, you got to remember, South Dakota State's had the better receivers, too.
They've been the better team the last 2 years. I don't think there's any
better offensive line.
Better defensive line, certainly in the last 2.
But I suppose if you're going to pick a starting point, you start there, certainly.
Cam's got to play outstanding. I really believe that for them to win this game. But then, so you look at the line of scrimmages here, where the Jacks clearly had the advantage, offensive line and defensive line, because I'm looking at you because you do those check marks. What's your early leanings here on any of this?
Well, the offensive line, to me, it seems like a toss-up right now.
I would think so.
I would give the check mark to the home team based on home crowd.
Okay.
Because the visiting offensive line has to deal with that. And that, to me, would be my tiebreaker there.
Okay.
Defensive line, I'd probably, with Hendricks
Tell me who's playing for the Bison up front. That's a big deal there. Yep.
I would give it to the Jacks right now.
Linebackers?
Jacks.
Secondary?
I don't know. Jacks?
Bison secondary
has
been better with the switch for Sam Young. But Dallas Beanham's still back there for SDSU, who's really good. Wide receivers? Bison. I would go with the Bison that one.
Yeah. South Dakota State's, the Wildy's been really good, the Wildy kid, but after that, I think they've been pretty average. And
Gordy's pretty good. Bryce Lance has been really good. Collins has been good. Chris Harris now coming up. And I would expect Raja Nelson's going to play in this football game on Saturday. Who am I forgetting? Running backs?
Oh, South Dakota State.
Yeah.
Amar Johnson has hurt the Bison. NDSU has
Yeah.
not shown that breakaway threat that Amar Johnson has.
And Angel Johnson, too. We can't forget him. I know Pierre Strong and Isaiah Davis the last couple of years, but now you welcome in those two. I mean, Amar Johnson, you're right. The last 2 games that they've played, 3 games, including the national championship, I think he scored 5 touchdowns against NDSU in the last 3 games.
An emphasis going forward, and obviously Tim Polsick knows this. This is not breaking news to him, but they got to find a breakaway threat at running back.
Yep. Marty's been close. I think Saturday you saw it where it was an ankle.
But he hasn't.
He has not done it yet. He's been an ankle or a shoelace away from breaking it, but it has not happened. If you did not see the game Saturday, right, the last play of the first half, Dylan Hendricks went down, a non-contact play. He did not play the rest of the game. He was in distress. He was in agony. He was seen in the second half in shorts with a huge ice pack on his left knee. We saw him with a huge brace, Jeff, on the airplane as we were heading back home. This guy we've seen it over the last couple of games. He's been a huge force on the defensive line, and especially at the defensive end spot. If he's unavailable, that's a big deal for the Bison.
I just can't imagine he'd be available right now. Just looking at that.
Yeah.
Best case scenario would be some sort of strain, maybe. Worst case scenario, out for the year.
Right. Yep. And we saw him. He was unavailable for the game at Montana, and how much that affected the Bison defensive line and able to get to the quarterback in Clifton McDowell in that game. And Granowski, granted, he's not what he was when the Bison first saw him prior to his knee injury. He can still move. Granowski can still get out there and make plays.
Yeah, in a game like this, in a matchup like this, you need your money on the field, meaning you need your players, your top players, your guys. If you were a salary cap, the guys that would be making the most money. You need your cash out there. And when you have Dylan Hendricks possibly out, you have your quarterback possibly hurt. Well, let's just start there.
Not great.
It's yeah.
Not a good combo. I will say though,
South Dakota State got any injuries? Do we know?
They're banged up. They got a couple guys. They're not 100%, but Adam Bach's playing. That's their middle linebacker who's been there forever. Who knows Cam Miller like the back of his hand. That's a tough deal there. I will say though, for the Bison defense, as maligned as we talked about, and I say maligned because of what we said when we saw their rush defense, they made pop plays again. They had 4 sacks. Kopp was in the backfield. Toby Anena had a tremendous game, I thought, on Saturday. That's 3 games in a row now that the Bison defense have played really, really strong.
2 against, I think, limited quarterbacks. Am I being like Dr. Downer today?
No, it's fine. You tell it like it is. I'm not going to disagree with you. Rittenhouse was
let's start with Rittenhouse. The last 3 quarterbacks.
3 guys, I would say,
have been average at best. Simon Rumpfall's limited. This guy in his first start, the true freshman Jake Curry, was limited in what he could do. Although he threw it a little better. I think he at least threw it medium a little better than Simon did the week before.
But I'll say 53 has come to play in Valley play.
Yes.
Eli Mostard has been what they have needed, something we talked about in the preseason of what they needed to have happen. Kopp has been good the last couple of games. Jalen Duffy looked really good. Now, he left the game with an elbow injury, did not play the rest of the game. Nick Kubitz got dinged up early and did not play the rest of the game
that
either.
To me will be the biggest deal right there is they need Nick Kubitz at middle linebacker.
Yep. I agree. That's.
I just don't know if Luke has the speed to hang with South Dakota State.
You know what? Also, another good game. Darius Givens. That play early set the tone, and he had a pick late. That's the kind of player that Matt Entz was telling me about, that Darius Givens could be on the back end for the Bison.
I think, didn't I say that in August, that this needs to be a Darius Givens year?
And it was slow to start.
It didn't start that way, but he changed positions.
He did.
To the other side, and maybe that's the ticket. And it sure seems like it right now.
Right, the last couple of games, he has gotten home on a couple big plays.
It's a confidence game. You know, when you're playing in the back end like that, and you're on an island some of the time, if not a lot of the time, you need to have the swagger and confidence to be able to handle those situations. And so maybe that's coming on for the young man. He's not really not that young anymore either.
It's his third year
junior.
So you didn't mention O-line versus SDSU. So who gets the check mark there? O-line, SDSU, or NDSU?
I did. I said when it comes to the O-line, I think it's a toss-up. So I give the advantage to the home team just because the visiting team has to deal with the crowd.
You remember the last time the Jacks were here, they had John O'Brien, who was the Bowling Green transfer at right tackle. I think he had 4 false starts. I mean, that first half of the 22 game, we talk about it ad nauseum now, that was as good as the Bison have played in the last couple years.
And just came so close to putting that game away.
Right. It's a personal foul. It's an unsportsmanlike penalty away from being 28-7. And that game's over. And that game is over. And obviously we know what happened after that. I think
Bison didn't score.
I think Cam Miller still, that one is close to his heart on what happened there. Because we have not seen that at all in the last, 20-some-odd games, maybe 30 games, Jeff, since the Bison have played that one. Cam has not reacted that way at all on the football field. That game was different.
I've seen that. I've seen quarterbacks do that, not get called since then. But, again, don't leave it to chance. We've said that for 100 times now.
Yeah, that to me, just play it out, man, how that could have gone differently. Last year, though, they were outclassed. SDSU was by far the better team. The Bison got, 30-9 at one point. They fell behind. They had a terrible day on special teams. And there's the other one I'll throw at you. Special teams. Bison have been really good at that in 2024. They're going to need another dynamite
veteran kicker. They have a kicker who can, on kickoffs, can boot it out of the end zone routinely. I think Jackson Williams looks confident back there. Never really busted a kickoff return, but I don't know many teams that do anymore.
You look at it, but that game last year, Crosa had a field goal missed, one that was blocked. Remember, he got pulled in that game. He was so upset. Raja had a big kickoff return in that, but that was not another, again, special teams against UND and SDSU left a lot to be desired last season. That's something I think there's been night and day difference with the Bison, but they're beat up. Jackson Dutenheffer did not play in this game against Southern Illinois. I was told that he likely will be back for this week. Cody Heisman started, and again, they overmatched SIU, as we thought would happen.
I thought SIU played about as well as it could have. I thought it was. I thought Nick Hill had a very well coached game. They had to, like I think I wrote, they had to muck it up. They mucked it up as best they could.
Yep.
Make it a low possession game. They did that.
But you got to feel for that. Jake Curry is in a tough spot.
So I was in the elevator from the press box after the game, going down to the locker room, and you had to stop at the suite level. All the fans get on there, and
delaying you to get out of the field.
Yeah, and then they were happy. They beat the spread. I think it was the ESPN spread, whatever they were betting on.
So it was 21.5. It was. I think it may have went to 22 by the time the game started. So there you go.
I'm serious. They were. Hey, Bob, made some money.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, if that's the way it came to the way it'd be in Fargo,
it would not go over well.
Hey, we beat the spread.
Yeah, that wouldn't go over very well. That, because I had more emails about that yesterday. Well, what did you think of the Bison performance? And I know you mentioned this on the post-game show. Did they play to SIU's level?
Yeah, they played down. There's no doubt in my mind. But again, I think, as Mike and I both mentioned in our columns, there's a sense of human nature to that. You're at UND, you got South Dakota State.
Yep.
You're not robots. I mean, you're watching film all week, and you're seeing these guys getting pummeled by Illinois State, who you just pummeled.
Yep.
How do you not sort of, digest that in your mind a little bit?
It's hard to ignore that. I think that's a fair point on there. I thought, frankly, with Cam's, and people ask me this, why didn't we not see Cole Payton more if Cam can't move? And again, you said this to me 3 times last week, both on and off air. Polisic wanted to see toughness out of his quarterback, and I think he saw that up to a point where, okay, we know Cam can't do this. He can still do this. I mean, he's still 18 of 24. It's not like he was, 7 of 18 in the game on Saturday.
Yeah, missed a couple. He usually does, but I said on the pregame show, I thought it'd be a Cole Payton game. I didn't think after a week, a sprained ankle is necessarily enough healing time.
What did he tell us? 75%? He was
75
at
to
when
80.
I asked him?
75 to 80.
Yeah. So they need him at 100, right? I don't know if he's going to get there before this game.
Those percentages, how do you know? It's such a...
You know by how he moved, and you could tell that certainly in that one rollout in the second quarter.
It's like the Bobby Knight game face comment. I got my game face on.
Yeah.
What is it? What's 75%? Is that...
But I think you could physically see it with how he's trying to run.
If you're not 100%, you're not 100%.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that.
Which he's not. Is he going to be is the question between now and the end of the season.
Are players ever 100%
Especially,
by this time?
Know this, the Bison still are 3 weeks away from their bye.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it's like a mirage out there in the desert. They still have this game. They have Murray, then Northern Iowa before they finally get their bye in the middle of November, and then they play 2 games, and then it's the playoffs by then. That's a long time.
Well, Murray's kind of a bye.
Well, the way they're going, yeah. But again, you can't think that way.
No,
you got to go and
you're right.
especially that's the other part of this. If they end up winning, if the Bison end up winning this game, then you got to guard against that heading into because you still have Northern Iowa the week after that game. There's some potential on that. But first to this. We'll break. We come back. We'll chat about the primetime game, what it's going to be like at the Dome. Crowd is going to be riled up. People are already asking for the tailgate lot
What
to be
are
open
tickets
at
going for
8
on the
a.m.
black market
We'll figure
right
that
now?
out as well. Back on Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Jeff Kolpack joining us. Got a few emails to get to here, Jeffrey, on what our last topic was. One thing we know about South Dakota State, like a heavyweight fighter that sees the opponent as hurting, they will absolutely look to reopen that cut. I'm assuming that's referring to Mr. Miller's ankle.
You mean they'll go after the ankle?
Either that or they're going to go after the quarterback, which would make a heck of a lot of sense to me.
Are they going to go all rose boom on the ankle?
Wow. Using that as a verb. NDSU season was upended with Miller's ankle. The tweak against SIU is a killer. I don't know if I'm really go that far yet. But
Yeah, it's not a high ankle sprain as far as we know.
No.
So these things can, 2-3 weeks, you
No.
can be back to, pretty well to 100%.
I know he hasn't started a game. We've seen tons of flashes, but does Cole Payton have what it takes to significantly play in a worst-case scenario for this weekend? I believe the Bison have full confidence that he will be able to do whatever they need.
The full playbook will be in operation if he has to go in the game.
Another
full
email
time.
on this one on Payton. Another confidence-crushing game for Cole Payton. Evidently, Cam Miller on one leg and either unable or unwilling to run gave the team a better chance of winning than Cole Payton. Tim Polisic lost a lot of shine with a lot of fans over this decision. I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's an
a bit dramatic.
overreaction.
Yeah, well, it's Overreaction Monday, so.
Okay.
Here's my best one. Dom, why is WDAY not broadcasting the SDSU game this weekend?
Because you don't want to.
Yeah, yes. ESPN decided they made a deal with the Missouri Valley Football Conference. We did this story last August when it came out. They get to pick whatever games they so choose, even non-conference. And
Thanks, Valley.
For the time being, the Jacks Bison game will not be on WDAY.
Thanks, Valley, for taking away one of our big games.
That
Appreciate
would be that would make some. We would make some cash this weekend. But be that as it may,
pregame show is still there.
We'll do that. We're going to do 2 of them this week, too. We're going to be live at 10 a.m., and then at 5:30, we're going to stream as old school. We're going to be out in the tailgate lot like we used to do.
Wow. Is this did you talk to my agent about this?
Well,
this is the first I heard of this.
I'll get to that in just a minute. But we'll be on 10 a.m. normal on WDAY, and then 5:30 on WDAY Plus at Inforum.com to get you ready for the game. Now, that being said, Saturday night, atmosphere-wise, what do we expect here for this game
if
at the
this
Dome?
isn't what it was back in when it's really cranking, then it'll never happen again.
Yeah, I agree.
I truly believe.
Don't leave it Where are you going? There's no place to leave it It's 8:30 at night. Where are you going? Stay. Don't go anywhere. It's not, the weather has turned now. It's colder out. So, no, but in all seriousness, I mean, I've had already emails saying why they should open the tailgate lot at 8 a.m. First off, I don't think you need 12 hours before the pregame, before the game.
That'd be like the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes. And I live that scenario.
Yes.
You don't want that. But I honestly think, and I'll be out walking through the lot like I normally do, I think there was a certain atmosphere, Jeff, energy for the UND game. I can only imagine for South Dakota State what this is going to be
I
like.
think it's going to be nice weather, too. It looks like in the 60s.
Yeah.
Looking at my DAY app.
I think just this have a chance to get us back to what
has a chance.
This is what I'm saying. Like Mike wrote about it, and we've talked about it. If there's one game you're going to get excited about now in FCS football, then this is the one. This is the one to have it.
Yeah, get it. Georgia Southern's not here anymore. App State, all those.
James Madison's not coming back.
Sammy, I hear.
Yep.
I get it, but they're still here.
Yep.
Talk about the Jacks.
Yep.
So this is it. Too bad Northern Iowa's kind of falling off that. I almost feel sorry. I wonder if fans feel sorry for Mark Farley. There was the.
No, you mean Bison fans feel sorry? I don't know if they're going to go that far, but that was one you could count on.
Yep.
I mean, Northern Iowa is going to be
there were
slobber
some
knockers there. No doubt about it.
physical activity on the field there.
No, and I mean, Youngstown just gave up 63 to the Jacks. I mean, the middle pack teams that we always counted on, Southern, Illinois State, Youngstown, and Northern Iowa, they're all not very good right now. I mean, Illinois State got destroyed by Mo State. And real quick here before we got to go, Mo State could be a player in this as well. I know they're not eligible, but they come here and they go and they host the Jacks. So they're certainly better than what I thought. They could throw a wrench in things as well here.
Yeah, and in the Valley preseason press conference or media day, whatever, head coach, what's his name again? Oh, what the heck's his name? Was asked, do you
Ryan Beard.
Ryan
Give
Beard,
me a second
thank you.
there.
Do you are all cards on the table, or do you redshirt guys because of the transition?
Yes.
He goes, no, this is the year where all cards are on the table.
Yep.
Because next year, then for sure they have nothing to play for.
Correct.
At least
Next
you can play
two,
for a conference title here.
They could. So we kind of overlooked that game because that's the final regular season home game for the Bison is Mo State on the 16th of November. Like, oh, that suddenly might get a little more amped here as they keep because they've won 4 in a row now.
Yeah, and that's going to be what they have to play for.
Yep.
Just like the Bison transition
Correct.
teams.
To upset the apple cart.
Right.
That could be something we see. Before we go, you mentioned your agent. Big week for you this coming. What do you got coming up later this week?
Well, the Dot's Pretzels book is coming out this week. They caught them sleeping. How Dot reinvented the pretzel. Have a fundraiser Wednesday at Velva. It's a fundraising signing.
Nice
at the to benefit the museum in Velva and the library in Velva, and then Thursday here at Mendak Market in West Acres, 4 to 7. Teaming with Icewind Brewing out of Mapleton, which is beer pretzels. Why not?
Yeah.
The Dot. Maybe she might be here. We're hoping. Yep.
Negotiations ongoing.
Hoping. Yeah.
Okay. This compared to your other projects,
different.
How was this?
Way different because the other 3 were sports related,
Yep.
and I was never going to do another sports book, and just sort of stumbled on this 3 years ago. It's a business book. It's entrepreneurial. Dom, I struggle at math. I mean, I don't know how I passed high school geometry, economics. I took a econ class in college, and all I got from that was guns and butter. I was like, what did I get myself into now? Yeah. But I'm a reporter. If I didn't know something, I could ask. So you go with that.
What's something? I don't want to give away the whole thing here. I don't want you to give away but was there one thing that stood out in this? You're like, boy, I never thought of that, or this really surprised me in learning about their whole venture.
Well, yes, and I never thought of this until I was talking to Clint Severson, who is the namesake for the Minot State School of Entrepreneurship, and he goes, "Yeah, she caught them sleeping." I go, "What are you talking about? The market? They had the same boring pretzels for 100 years. Everybody did." Then she comes along with this craft recipe by accident and just turns the market on a dime. And now everybody's trying to imitate her and what she came up with. And she said there's one ingredient everybody's missing. Obviously, we'll never say it.
Yeah, you're never going to know that. Yeah.
But it's like the KFC recipe, right? and that's why the title of how Dot reinvented the pretzel.
Wow. And it's everywhere now. Like
it's amazing.
I have buddies of mine on the East Coast have seen it now.
Velva in a farmstead outside of Velva, North Dakota.
Man.
She reinvented the market forever.
I remember you writing the first book, which I have over here over my right shoulder, of how long that took. Was this one shorter, longer in terms of getting this done? Now that you've done 3
in terms of time, it's probably the same. But I picked it up, I put it off, I pick it up, I put it off. So it was over 3 years of here and there.
Yeah.
And this is the first time where I've almost partnered with the source, if you will, with Dorothy, and she's been great, awesome. You can see why she and her husband Randy have been so successful. They're very detailed. They're driven, even in retirement. They're driven. It's just it was a blast to get to know them.
And now they're multi.
I think they've done okay.
Millionaires.
Yes.
They're all right. So that comes out on Thursday.
Thursday in Fargo.
You can go and get your book, and Kolpack will sign it, and then you can.
I'll have other signings too.
You can
December
ask for a prediction
too.
about the game as well, right?
Bet your mortgage on it.
Look who's over your shoulder, who's coming on.
Oh,
We'll take a
what does
break.
he want?
He's coming in. Phil Hansen here because it's Bills-Jets game tonight. And we might talk about the Bison of the Jags. We'll go to break. Phil's on deck. We're back after this.